Do you want to improve as a comic book artist? Would you like to polish your style, give it some extra juice? Then try out this drawing technique. It might open some new doors for your drawing skills. My name is Dr. Rocker and today I'll show you a new way to render your comic book drawings. Let's go! All you need for this are some gray valued Copic markers and some inking tools. Yeah, and a pencil of course, but we always need a pencil. If you can get your head on a 3, 5 and 7 gray tone from Copic or whatever other alcohol-based markers you have, that's enough. But if you have the whole set, even better. We will use these markers in combination with some strong blacks and maybe some hatching to produce a special look. Rendering 2.0. Beautifully done by Freddie Williams and Tyler Kirkham. And although these drawings will not just be black and white, but also in all these gray tones, they will still be able to be colored digitally. But more about that later in the video. First, we need a sketch. Since I want to try out how this technique will behave when colored later on, I decided to use a character with some different colors on the costume. So Captain America it is. The red and white stripes next to the blue suit will provide a great playground to try everything out properly. When using Copics, it would actually be better to sketch everything out on a cheap piece of copy paper and transfer it to a bristle board with a light box. This way it would make sure the paper is as good as new. Comes in handy when using Copics, but I don't feel like that today, so I will try and sketch everything out directly on my bristle board. I'm using a Strathmore Bristle 300 series because it has no blue lines. That's actually the only reason. Otherwise I would prefer the 200 series. I hope I will be able to come up with a decent result, cause I've never tried this before. But in any case, it will be a great learning experience. I find every time I try something new like this, I take something with me, even if I will not continue to involve this technique in my future drawings. But who knows? I guess what I try to say is, give it a go guys. Even if you don't think this is for you, it might still teach you something. Okay, sketch is done. And quite fast so, because all the rendering will be done with the gray values from the Copic markers. I will use these warm gray tones from Copic, but you can also use the cool gray ones, and it doesn't have to be Copic, it can be any alcohol-based marker. And like I said in the beginning, it's totally enough to have every other value, which means 3, 5, or 7 or something like that. Of course, you can also use the whole spectrum, then you can produce an even smoother shading, but it's actually enough to use every other one, because it's also okay if this is just a rough underdrawing, because it's going to be colored later on anyway. When using alcohol-based markers, make sure to use an extra piece of paper underneath your actual drawing paper, so the bleed-through will not ruin your desk. And now, instead of hatching out of the strong blacks, we will use these Copics now to produce a nice shading. I haven't used my Copics for a while, so I will check out if they are working. Or this one is dry, you can see that. Almost dry, oh my. But for some I have a refill, so shouldn't be a problem. Whoa, that's a dark one. But they all seem to be, well, that's not so good, but the other ones seem to be good enough. Okay, so the plan is to use a 1, a 3, a 5 and an 8. I will start our little experiment with a warm 3-tone on the legs right there. Let's just see. The 3 is quite light. I also have a 1 prepared, great tone number 1, but I think it's safe to start with the 3. And this already looks pretty cool, and I will go in right ahead with number 5. Number 5, a little bit there and there. Then I will smooth it out with the 3 again. And of course I could go in with the 1 and do a smooth shading, but I actually want to have some edges like this one, because that brings a little bit more life in a drawing like that, especially since there will be maybe even no hatching lines, I don't know. And this is number 8, so a pretty dark one already. And I will smooth it out again with the 5 now. 8, 5. I would have taken the 7, but the 7 is too dry, which means I had to take the 8. Okay. I think that's good enough for now. And now I will go right ahead to the next one. And I will also start with the 3. This area will be blue, so it can be a little bit darker than this one because he has red boots. So again, the 3. And I will only take the 3 and the 5 for this one because I don't have to hatch out of the strong blacks right there. There's a little shadow and it works pretty nicely. A little bit darker. Looks good. And like that, I will go ahead now and do the whole drawing. And when I'm done with this step, I will tell you what's next. But for now, let's use these with some music so it won't get too boring. And let's go. Okay, the blue and the gray areas of the costume are done. Now I will talk to you a little bit more about some tips and tricks when doing the red areas, the red stripes for example. When you need to get a shading out of the black but not too dark, you can use your darkest value, in my case the warm 8, draw a little inside the black area and smear it with a lighter tone on the area you need to shade. Even in the darkest areas, it's allowed to leave out a piece, totally white I mean, to create a nice contrast. To make sure that the drawing looks very compact, I will go ahead now and I did just these red areas and now I will do the red areas on the rest of the costume, which means here the gloves, the boots and also the shield, because this way, like I just said, it looks more compact and you're not making mistakes as easily. So stick to a color after the other and finish it. That's the best way to make sure to not make too many mistakes. For the white areas I will only use tone number 3 and tone number 1 to make sure that it's not getting too dark. And should the paper bulge too much on a specific surface, just go ahead, move on to another area and come back later. The paper will calm down. You can see we are already getting a great contrast. Works pretty nicely, and I guess it will look awesome once it's colored. But there's one big trick up my sleeve I will show you in a second. You can also do some patterns like these. And of course some nice metal effects like these are working great with Copics. And so the Copic part is done. And you could leave it like that and go straight to the digital coloring process. Or you can really get a way better contrast with using a pencil. You can use a colored pencil, but I think the best one would be just a 2B pencil or something like that, and you will see in a second. Look how great this works. With just a few pencil strokes, you can deepen the contrast like crazy. It's amazing. You can also use a blending stick and make it even softer, but that's not really necessary because there's already a really nice value right there from the Copics, and you just need to edge out the edges. this looks so much better instantly. Especially edges like this one look 100% better if you use a pencil on them. It works even better in the very light areas. Look at that. Just a little bit of pencil, then I'll blend it with the blending stick. And there's so much more contrast, just like that. And the best thing about this method is it really works great in tiny pieces as well. So you can do folds like this, and also in the facial area you will be able to produce really cool contrasts. Because the pencil is a hard line, and you can smudge it of course, but it's not blurring out like the Copics do. No bleeding whatsoever. And should you want more movement in the drawing, you can just do a little patterns, almost like hatching, and leave it like that. Or just smudge it a little bit. But still you will be able to see some movement. I hope you can see it properly on the camera, but it looks great live. The combination of pencil and Copics in gray tone especially is also a very great way to produce very fast realistic drawings like portraits and stuff like that. So if you want to do a thing like that, I would highly recommend to try out this method. And if you don't like something you did with the pencil, you can erase it even. That's pretty cool. Okay, I could take forever now to smoothen things out, but I will leave it right there because I don't have the time, and I think it's also nice if it's a little bit of a rougher look. And now we will see how this whole thing will look when we color it with the iPad. So let's get the iPad. Now you can either take a picture with the iPad or scan it in if you have a scanner. In any case, we will use the settings to get rid of all the colors, so it's just a gray value. Okay, so here's our drawing. Now we open up the layer, the menu from the layer, and put it on multiply. Then we add an extra layer, take it beneath this one, and then we are able to color the thing without touching the shadings. So what I will do now, I will just use blunt colors and color the whole thing in the right colors of course, and that should do the trick. I will not have to do any fancy work because all of the shadings are already done, so this should go fairly fast. So let's go! And here we go, that must have been the quickest coloring process I ever did. Cause all the values are here already, so I only had to do the flat work actually. I only used a little bit of effects, I just did a little bit of a lighter airbrush, white drawing there, and some effects later on, but that's all I did. All the other stuff we did before when we did the thing with the Copics. And you might have recognized I redrew the head because I don't know, I really messed this one up. It looks like he doesn't have teeth. Man, that's bad. But this one's okay, I guess. So all in all, really cool drawing, really fast. So if you like this style, I would highly recommend to try it out because you will be able to save a ton of time if you work like that. And like I said before, a lot was learned by trying out this one. So again, really try it out, you might love it. And if not, you will still learn a ton of things. Okay people, but now again it is time to say goodbye. I hope you had fun watching this video. If you did so, a like rating is always appreciated. And please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my future content here on this channel. And also, If you're from the area, I will be at Vienna Comic Con and on 1st and 2nd of October. This will be a really great event, so see you there, my friends. And there will be a lot of stuff about the book I did, so I'm very excited about that one, of course. It will soon be on Kickstarter, so stay tuned. This will be amazing. And yeah, now I want you to go and watch this video. That's the one where I show you how to color digitally with the iPad with Procreate. It's a really cool video. You can go in depth about all the coloring process, and yeah, just check it out. It's a good video. See you there. Don't forget to draw every day and have a great day.